Welcome to the 100 Master Coaches series featuring master coaches from around the world. Let's journey together on this 100 Master Coaches series with your host, Coach Mel, MCC. Today's master coach is Belinda MacInnes. An internationally sought-after master coach, she partners leaders to discover what is possible in how they act and in who they are being. Now, onto the show.
Welcome to the show. This is Coach Mal, and this is the 100 Master Coaches series. And today, I have a special guest. She is a wonderful dear friend, and I won't say how many years that is. But I'll share you one story before we begin. I met Belinda in 2007. And in an ICF meeting, and that was my first ever, I think, ICF meeting. And guess what? Belinda was the president then. So, oh my gosh, it's like meeting Madam President. Hi, how are you? But you know, Belinda really made me feel so at home. And ever since, I've not stepped away from the ICF. So, welcome to the show, Belinda. Glad to have you.
Thanks, Mel. Sounds like I did a really good job of welcoming you. If you're still an active ICF member, my job was done.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And you know, this show is about you today. So let's get it started with our first question. How did it all begin for you, Belinda? Your coaching story?
I have told this story many times, Mel, and it started when I was working at General Motors. So my corporate career was at General Motors.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And a brochure came across my desk, big, big, glossy, expensive brochure called Executive Coaching.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is this? I'd never heard of it, didn't know what it was. Yeah. I was intrigued. And so I actually took it home and I went, what is this? And I got online, and back then getting online was a bit harder than it is now.
Dial up.
And anyway, I found Coach U. Coach U was at one of the 2 training schools in Australia at that time.
Yeah. And
I thought, what is this? So I signed up for the 4-week, 1 hour a week free course. And it was one of those moments after the first week, I went, I've been looking for this all my life. It fits in with my professional passion. I love business and corporate. Yeah. I love working. And I do personal development, and it brought the 2 together. It was like it was congruent. And I'm like, oh my God, this can be a career.
Yeah.
So I immediately signed up. Paid loads of money and quit my job, which I would never recommend for any newer coaches to do that. Do not just sign up and quit your job. But anyway, I did.
But you did. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And I'm still here.
Gosh. Yeah.
I'm still here decades later. Best thing I've ever done. And it was, I said, congruent. All of me came together. My interests in so many areas could come together into coaching. I remember my father said, and my father was a pretty hard-nosed businessman, he said to me, you've quit your blue chip job to do what? And I'm like, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really know how even to describe coaching, but I'm very glad I did it. So it was a leap of faith, and look, it all worked out really well.
And I'm sure that your father is really, really proud of you for that.
I hope so. He's passed away, but I think he would be. Definitely. And I know my friends, who at the time were really nervous for me, they're proud of me now. And so then I found out about the ICF. Coach, you talked about the ICF, and I found out about credentialing and master certified coach. And very early on, I went, I want that. I'm one of those people, I went, I want that. And that, along with building up my business, because obviously I needed clients. Wonderful. And I needed to learn how to coach. but I really, really wanted, and I had my eyes on that MCC prize right from the beginning.
Yeah. Wonderful. Very, very focused, Belinda.
Very focused.
That is Belinda. Get to know her. Get to know her.
Yeah, I'm focused, Mel, but I'm very lovely and friendly.
Definitely. That's part of your DNA. You got to love what you do, and you are lovely as well. But tell us, Belinda, what was the first 5 years all about? You know, perhaps there were a little bit of a struggle. I can answer that in one word. Okay.
One word, really hard. It was really hard. It was hard. And I've got to remember, I'd quit my job. I had no plan B. You know, this was it. I had found my calling and I had to make it work. So I was really committed. I worked really hard. What I did have was I was a business systems expert. So my undergraduate degree is science, and then I went on and did postgrad in business systems. So I knew how to use systems, and then I did a short course on how to run a consultancy, I think it was called, at the University of Melbourne. And I really focused on setting up I set up my business like General Motors. Right? I mean, it was me. And I still do. I still have all those different departments.
That's right. The SOPs, it's all got to be done.
It's all there. And that really helped. And then I was getting my coach training, how to be a coach and do coaching from my coach training school, which was Coach U. And then the other thing I did was I had to work on myself, my personal development, which I'd been doing anyway, but now I knew. So I developed what I call the 3 Ps.
Ooh,
professional development.
Tell me.
Personal development and practice development. So the 3 Ps of sustainable coaching success, and that became my mantra.
And that's
I
beautiful.
focused on my professional development, so Coach U in the ICF,
that's
personal development, and then getting my business up and running, because I'm an external coach practitioner. So that's pretty much what I did. I just went for it, a bit like we do in skiing, no guts, no glory, no pain, no gain. And look, and it worked. It worked. I got a full practice within 16 months, and that was pretty amazing. Now I look back, I go, oh, how did I do that? But anyway, I did it, and that was really good. And then people started asking me how I did it.
Yeah.
And then, Mel, I wrote my book. I wrote my Professional Coaches Business Systems books, which focused on the practice development, because that's what I knew how to do. I couldn't write how to be a coach because I was still learning that. So that was my first 5 years. And I went to coaching conferences.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And met people.
Yeah.
Like you did, like you, when you came to the ICF, I went to ICF conferences, I met people. I was pretty intimidated, and I don't know, shy, but I sort of held back because I'm sort of like, who are all these people and what's going on? But I've made my way, and, as you know, I'm still here. So it was hard, and it was good.
Well done. Well done. I love the 3 Ps. Thank you for sharing that. And that kind of brings me to the next question, which is, what would be the bravest thing that you've done as a coach?
I think writing that book, because, I'm a scientist by training, so writing and English and grammar and essays was never my forte.
Yeah.
And then the second one was getting my MCC, I'm going to get an MCC and working towards it. And it was such a big goal. So that was really good. And now owning I'm a master coach. I coach masterfully, and I'm a masterful coach. I can say that. Yeah. I couldn't say that many years ago. So that's in coaching. In the rest of my life, the bravest thing I ever did was my first marriage failed, and I felt like a failure, and I didn't know how to manage that in my business. I knew that I couldn't, keep it a secret, but then you don't want to air your dirty laundry. So I worked with my own coach through that. I decided that I'd let my clients know and then say to them, if they still want to work with me, that's great. And if they want to finish or terminate the agreement, that's absolutely fine too. I understand. And the good news is they all stayed with me.
Yeah.
But why I did that was I wanted to be present with my clients, and in the back of my head going, oh, what if they find out, my marriage has failed? What if they find out? Not that they would or they'd even care, but I couldn't be present about it. And that was really brave. And I think that really gave me courage. It gave me that authentic, it's okay to be your real self with your clients. And I'd never had that at General Motors, and many corporates, and we all have to put on the mask. And that's the beauty of coaching, is I don't wear a mask, and it's such a relief.
Absolutely. It gets a little heavy when we've got to carry those masks on one hand, and then knowing which ones to put on in the right context, isn't it? With different people. And I just wanna affirm what you just said. That is amazingly brave. And I remember that time when it happened, because you posted it and I saw that, and I was telling myself that's just a brave woman. And and to the point when you found your partner in life. and this is amazing. And I just want to say that the authenticity is just mind-blowing. I just want to give that back to you and say we all need that in today's world of wanting to all look good, the social media and everything, but just being that. And I did not know the other part of the story where you just said you went to each of your clients, and you did not have to.
No, I didn't, but I sort of did, because I would have hated, I couldn't be present. It was taking up too much space in my mind. Not the marriage breakdown, but it was a secret, and I didn't want to feel ashamed or embarrassed. And the thing is, now I hear from people like you've just said, oh, that was so great you did that. And I did it in a planned way. I didn't just go blah. It was planned, and when I wrote that post about it, it was a good time afterwards. But to not hold back, and then I could be me. And as we all know, I've now found the true love of my life and have been happily remarried for 12 years. So, it's all good. But
so good.
I didn't know that at the time. Yeah.
And that is how we all ought to live. I just want to say that. That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
Let's move on to the next question. And it's about the insights that you've gotten from the journey. I kind of remember it's now 20 years that you've been doing this.
It is.
Excuse me.
It is.
But it's beautiful. And if you could just kind of simmer that into that 3 insights for us, what would that be for you?
I know. The first one, Mel, was to believe in coaching, believe in the process of coaching.
Yeah.
And I learned that in my coach training at Coach You. And I'm now renowned for the one saying to people, trust the process, trust the process.
Yeah.
In fact, I have started a new Instagram account for my business, and today's post is trust the process. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm known for that. And it was quite easy for me, because I hadn't come from any sort of HR-y background. I didn't have anything to compare it to. I hadn't done org psych or counselling, or I hadn't been a consultant. So I was coming in very innocent or naive, really. All I knew was coaching and the coaching process, and it works. So I didn't have preconceived ideas. So that's probably the first thing. My first insight is trust the process, even if you have come from some of our, allied or sister professions.
Yep.
Then the next one was I had to trust my clients and really believe in my clients, like not try and fix them or solve or give an answer or provide a resource. That took me a bit longer. I sort of thought, to add value, I have to do something or give them something, or, I wanted something more tangible. So that took a bit longer, and really believing in my clients. And the ICF taught me all our clients are creative, resourceful and whole.
Absolutely.
It used to be on the ICF website. I don't know where it is now, but I've always remembered that. Did you ever see that?
Yes, I have. I have seen it. Yeah.
And I keep that I don't do remedial coaching. So, if there's remedial coaches listening, then you'd have a different experience. But for me, I coach, high potential people or people who want to be coached, or my clients are people who want coaching.
Absolutely.
So believing in them, and then that led on to the third insight, which is believing in myself. And you touched on that earlier about when do I own that I'm a masterful coach? So in 2012, after one marriage failure, my new fabulous marriage, I thought I better change my name, because I had my old husband's name, my first husband's name. Anyway, I rebranded to Belinda M Master Coach. And it was a bit of a stretch back then. I'm sort of thinking, what are people going to think? Master coach, and am I, tooting my own horn a bit much? Anyway, again, worked with my own coach through it. And it was a stretch, but I rebranded, put it all out there.
Yeah.
And I've grown into it. Now I can own it. Now it's like, yep, I'm a masterful coach. I coach masterfully. It's completely normal. I don't even bat an eyelid, but that was a stretch. That was like me skiing a double black diamond run. Yeah. Wow. And I did it. And now it's fine. And whatever people thought then, they probably didn't even think about me, Mel, but, I thought they might be. And so my three insights: believe in the coaching process, believe in our clients, and most of all, believe in ourselves. And I think that's part of being a masterful coach.
Wow. And as I'm listening, I'm trying to put that into piece. And that for me is process, people, and our own potential. So that's
very nice.
And what you just said about the last one shows how authentic you are. I just want to go back to that word. The authenticity comes through, because you could have said, the first insight is understanding me, right? It's like, but that was the third. And that just shows you, it shows how you show up as a person, Belinda. And that to me is beautiful.
Thank you.
Really, really. Woo. This is bringing back a lot of memories, and also the reasons why.
That's what happens when you chat with someone who's been around 20 years.
Let me go on to the next question. Come on, let me go on. Good. Let me move on. This is a kind of an open one. If you had a chance to do it all over again, all right, what would you do differently?
Well, from a systems, or as you said, a process, or my one, the practice development, I reckon what I'd do differently is I'd want to be on top of the IT a bit more. I sort of outsourced, or let's be honest, I abdicated quite a bit of the IT. It's not really sexy and it's a bit boring. And I mean, I can do it.
I understand.
Yeah. I have a science background, and if I have to do, I love spreadsheets and stuff, but the website, I've got an online shop, hardware, software. I never sort of felt on top of it, and then I'm relying on someone else, and then when something goes wrong, and it's all happened, software, hardware, something doesn't work, and it's that sick feeling. You're like, oh, then I've got to ring someone, and so I would have taken more of an interest. And look, I know I can do it. I'm not saying I can code or anything, but being more responsible and a bit more over the IT than outsourcing as much as I did, asterisk abdicating as much as I did. And that is, and I can say that now because earlier this year, and it was before COVID, it was in January, I started this Instagram course. And what I've learned in that is I'm fully empowered in it. I can do all of it. And that is a great feeling. That's a real, and I'm in charge of my brand. I'm in charge of what goes out when. I'm in charge of what it looks like. On the other side of that, if it goes wrong, the buck stops with me.
Absolutely.
But that's been a really, even things like down to the first time I got my logo, I got a logo from a graphic designer. It was all really exciting. And then when I took it to back then, it was, the print shop.
Yep.
It was in the wrong format, and it's like, well, I don't care. And I don't, So being more responsible about that stuff. And that's why I'm enjoying this new platform of Instagram for me, for other people, it may not be for them.
Yep.
Because then I'm in charge of my own brand rather than other people. But look, it's still early days for me. Who knows? Speak to me in a year and I might be going, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. But no, I think I will know what I'm doing because it's good. And
well
remember,
done.
I'm a coach practitioner. I'm a 20-year veteran of being a coach practitioner.
Yes, you
and I want to be able to express that about myself. And look, I'm still learning. I'm still learning to do that. I don't get intimidated by the academics anymore.
That's another show by itself. Let's not get into that.
I used to get so intimidated. And then I'm thinking, they wouldn't have anything to study if it wasn't for the clients us practitioners have worked with.
Yes.
We need everyone. We need everyone.
Absolutely. We are all in this together. Yeah.
We are.
Yeah. And we're going to segue nicely to the next question because you talked about IT, right? In your mind's eye, what do you think is that future of coaching looking like?
I was at a conference in India last year and the big theme was AI and coaching. And there was a bit of fear, spreading through the delegates. And I'm very interested in AGI, artificial general intelligence. And I think we're a long way from artificial general intelligence being able to coach the whole person, the who, transformational coaching. I think, and look, it's already happening. I know I was speaking to, do you know Gary Wang in China? And he does a lot of sales coaching with AI. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? What are you going to do? How are you going to do it? AI can do that. We're at that point where some transactional coaching can already be done by AI. But I really believe, and I do keep my eye on the pulse with this, is transformational coaching, the who of our clients will need to be done by humans for a lot longer. We're the ones who have got mirror neurons. We're the ones with oxytocin and serotonin and that wholehearted connection, however you want to explain it. I call it transformational, wholehearted partnering, deeply coaching. But that's going to be around, and that's where the real transformation happens in our clients. And I've also noticed, Mel, over my time now, is clients stay with me. They may go for X years, but then they come back because they're at the next stage, or they want to unpeel the next layer or take on the next challenge. And I love transformational coaching. So the future of coaching is, I think the transactional stuff will move more and more to AI, and the transformational stuff will stick with the master coaches.
The human touch, and that's what we all need still. That's wonderful.
Well, that empathy and, neuroscience and functional MRIs are showing us why now. It's not just woo-woo hippie stuff. It's we now know why we want to be wholeheartedly in relationship, or as the ICF said, partnering with another human being.
Absolutely.
And chemical reaction.
I just want to say this because the whole COVID thing and the whole shutdown and the whole restrictions on a lot of things that we were very used to, and one of it was having a cup of coffee with a friend, right, or a client maybe. And once that was kind of removed, it kind of like it kind of brought me, at least, back to like, oh my gosh, I'm missing all this, and is it still the same? And I know, because when we have a video coaching session, of course we've got all the mirror neurons working. We're all still looking at each other's micro expressions, and it still works. But there is that bit that says we need that human touch, that handshake that we can't do anymore.
Not anymore.
It's like the elbow. It's like, So yeah, I think all of that, I truly am with you, with the importance of that human connection. Yeah. The next question, and we've got only 2 more questions to go, Belinda, that master wisdom that you want to leave behind. All right. This is for the budding coaches out there.
Okay.
What is it? Yeah.
Okay. I would say to a budding coach, don't get put off. Like, coaching sometimes sort of, how everyone's a coach, and we're unregulated. Everyone's a coach. I've drunk a green juice and now I'm a health coach, or, I've done a weekend course on X and now I'm an X coach. It's like, I've been around long enough. I've seen so many coaching cowboys and coaching cowgirls come and go.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot of us who have stayed around because we are authentic, or as we say here in Australia, fair dinkum coaches.
Fair dinkum, that's right.
So I would say, believe in coaching. Those of us that are good, we're here. And don't be a cowboy or cowgirl and, doing it because it's a fad or because you've lost your job during COVID and, I'll become a coach. If you want to become a coach, get really good training and get an ICF credential. Get an ICF credential, and get your MCC, like I did. Work towards your MCC. There are only 1,200 of us in the world. 1,200 MCCs out of 30,000 credentialed ICF coaches. So there's a goal for you budding coaches. We'd love you. We'd love to have more credentialed coaches at the ICF, and certainly more MCCs. So come and join us and be a real coach who's been reviewed by your peers. You've jumped through the hoops and met the criteria, and, people take you seriously. And it's great. And, you can make a living out of it, a really good living. It's fun. And it's really fun, really.
Definitely. And it's just, it goes beyond all that even, right? It is not just about that making a living, as you say. It's more than that, because we get so much out of this as well.
Oh, it's a calling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I get energized. That's how I tell if a client's a good match for me. If at the end of a coaching session, I've got less energy, I really look at it and I go, oh, what happened there? Was that client not a match? Or, it might have been a one-off. But honestly, that's one of the ways I tell who's an ideal client, is how much, am I looking forward to that client, or am I going, oh no, I've got Mel at 3:00? Or am I going, oh, great, I've got Mel at 3:00,
That's true.
and that's a really good way to know if this client is a good match for you. Yeah. And Mel, I was looking forward to this interview. I'm going, yay, I've got Mel this afternoon.
Same here. And our final question for the day is, it has to be a powerful question. It has to be a powerful question. Yeah. You've got to leave the audience with a question so they can take away and have a bit of a think about. Well, what would that be for you?
Well, as we're recording this in times of COVID, and we've already mentioned how it's changed how we relate.
Yeah.
I would say it's along that. So how can you relate empathetically with your client or your staff member, your team, your manager, your partner, your family? How can we, in these times of touching less, really relate empathetically? I'll give you a tip. Be really curious.
So wonderful.
Really be curious. Who is this human being on that screen or through that glass or 4 meters away or whatever it's got to be?
Thank you. And it's all about
You're welcome.
that whole self as well, right? It's not just that mask that people put, and we all do have a little bit of that sometimes. But
of course we do.
It's going to that screen and saying, let's go beyond that.
Yeah, and we don't know how long this is going to last. This might be going on for a long time. I hope not, but we don't know. And for now, it's the new normal. And we've proven we can do it, Mel.
Absolutely. 20 years of hustling, not just hustling, but putting it into a process, working it with the best people, and of course, working on yourself, the potential. This has been an amazing time with Belinda. I just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me and including me in the 100 Master Coaches. What a privilege, and good on us for getting our MCC. It is a lot of work. I mean, it is, let's be honest. It is, and it's worth it.
Absolutely. And with that, I say thank you once again for all of you, and especially to Belinda here. I wish I could just go there and give you a hug, but we'll do the that. This has been 100 Master Coaches. This is Coach Mal signing off. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
You have been watching the 100 Master Coaches series with your host, Coach Mel, MCC. Brought to you by Catalyst Coach. www.catalystcoach.live. We will be right back with our next Master Coach on the 100 Master Coaches series.